Digital ID won't stop the boats, no matter what Keir Starmer and Tony Blair tell you. Here's why. You already need a national insurance number to legally work in the UK. Black market employers aren't suddenly going to start asking people for digital ID. Asylum seekers are already made to give over fingerprints and face scans to receive what's known as an ARC card. Foreign nationals already have a digital ID. It's called an e-visa. And, let's be honest, no one who's willing to risk their life crossing the channel will be put off because of an app on your phone. So what will a digital ID do? It will make us all dependent on a digital pass to go about our daily lives, giving the state enormous control. It could even turn neighbours into informants. Britain has always rejected mandatory ID. We should reject this one too.
Have you seen what this knobhead's saying now, Mr. fucking Stormy? Digital IDs. Not a fucking chance do I want you knowing exactly what I'm doing. And if you think that most of the UK's going to conform to this bullshit, you've got no chance. They've had this plan all along, using illegal migration as a fucking excuse. Not a chance, Mr. fucking Stormy. Yeah, people are worried about the level of illegal migration, not half as worried as we are of you running the fucking country and then try and get us to have a digital ID. No way, mate. I'll speak for the whole of Britain here. You can stick your digital ID where the sun don't fucking shine, mate. We want nothing to do with you or your government, so fucking stand down. Step the fuck down. We do not want you running our country. You are a liability. You are a danger to your own people. We don't want you. Fuck off. And when you do stand down, fuck off out the country as well. You're not welcome.
Digital ID? Nah, I'm not having it. There's no that it can achieve that you couldn't do already with proper resources and reinforcement. I mean, do you remember when CCTV were going to be end of all crime? Whereas now, we walk around constantly on candid camera and shoplifting is worse than it's ever been. Another thing, it targets the poorest people in society, people on benefits, and them are just like having to hustle odd jobs to make a living. And it makes you think they're to blame for your problems and not the people in boardrooms who are really ripping you off and stealing from you every day of the week. So, at best, it's a vote-winning PR stunt. At worst, it's another step on the road to totalitarianism. Resist.
Your thoughts on digital ID?
I think that the migrant boat issue has been orchestrated on purpose so that they can create the problem to then offer the solution. The solution being digital ID, that we all need to reject fully.
Will you have a digital ID then?
No, I will not. Definitely not. We have to resist it. It will be full control of the populace. That's what they want, that's their aim. And we're here today to stop that. We know what their game is and we're not going to let them do it.
That's a big problem for the simple reason is that once all this starts, right, what's going to happen is bit by bit, little by little, there'll be another commotion going on. And while that commotion's going on, they'll just keep sliding bits and dabs of more stuff in. And eventually you'll be walking down the street like in China. And if you drop something on the floor, even accidentally, or anything happens, what's going to happen is this. They're going to get your facial recognition. The 5G's already there and most of the cameras are. And then what they'll do is they'll come straight to your face. You'll go to your bank. You'll be unable to pay things because they'll just take the money out the bank and then you'll get fined and everything else. It's all going Pete Tong. Loads and loads of things come with this digital ID. Please Google digital ID in the UK. It's shocking.
Keir Starmer is set to launch what he's calling the BritCard. And what this is an online digital ID. Instead of using a passport or driving licence, every adult in the UK legally will need to sign up to this new digital ID scheme. And I think there's something underlying with this because Keir Starmer said the reason that he's rolling this out is it's going to stop illegal immigrants coming over to the UK and getting a job. But if they're an illegal immigrant, they're not going to have a passport, they're not going to have a driving licence, and they're not going to have a national insurance card. So why would this be any different? You see, I reckon this is the first step into the new plan for a central bank digital currency. And when this is rolled out, cash will be gone. You know, we've all heard that saying, cash is king. Realistically, it's just the government wanting to watch every single thing you're doing. And the reason they're doing this is to stop tax evasion, even dealers selling stuff. I mean, imagine going to buy 3 for a $1 and your dealer's like, oh, well, you're gonna have to bank transfer me. Government's going, why you got all these payments here saying 3 for a $1? If you work hard for your money, the government shouldn't give a fuck about what you spend it on. I think this is a massive ploy just to get into people's banks, get everything online so they can track every little thing about you and see what's happening.
If you think digital ID is a good idea, you need to give your head a very good wobble and examine yourself Because this is nothing more than another control mechanism by two-tier Keir Starmer. You're telling me I have a passport, a driver's license, a national insurance number, I have an NHS number, you name it, I've got it all. But you're telling me that some kind of digital ID is going to stop the boats. Now, it has been confirmed how this will be implemented, but let's assume that it's going to be on your phone, right? Let's assume. You're telling me you're going to give this mob in number 10 full access to your phone with your WhatsApps, your bank information, all your personal details. You're going to put that, you're telling me that is about illegal immigration. Come on. This must be fought and resisted at every opportunity. Now it makes sense why Starmer never wanted to stop any boats. It was all about implementing his crazy globalist ideas. Stop this madness now.
Today, he said, and I quote, "If you want to work in the United Kingdom, you will have to have a digital identification." Basically, now if you want a job, you have to hand over your entire identity to the government. They're framing it as a border security thing, but let's be real. It's surveillance in a suit. And yes, the same suit and the same fucking haircut that he has had for 10 years. If you are going to strip us of our rights, at least change your hair once in a while. They are literally building a database of all of us. And once that's normalized, that card is going to creep its way into housing, benefits, travel, healthcare, you name it. And the worst part is, this is not some far-right fever dream. This is Labour, the party that campaigned on change. And now the change is handing over all of our biometric data if you want to flip burgers at McDonald's.
Now, it's being pushed as something called the BritCard. And the idea is it's going to really protect British workers and mean that illegal immigrants can't work in the UK. And it's a huge concern for lots of people across the country. Whether it's legitimate, I don't know, but a lot of the country is very, very concerned about this. There will be polling to back this up. As we're talking about these ID cards and these ways of checking whether people are actually allowed to work here or access services here, like the NHS and schools and benefits and things like that, I started to think about a number that I've memorised off by heart, which I'm not going to show you, but it's on a card as well that I was given. A card here, my national insurance number card. Now, I've had to give that number every single time I've worked for anyone. Anytime I've freelanced for someone, they need my number, my national insurance number. And yeah, it's really old and so are my hands. But look, this is not proof of identity. They made it really, really clear. I got this in the early 2000s, right? And there was already discussion about identity cards back then, and Tony Blair had pushed it and people had said, no, we don't want these. But now the conversation's all coming back. I'm wondering, if I had to give this national insurance number card, like the number, out every single time I was working, and everyone else in the UK really is familiar with this number and they know what their number is and they know that they need it, why is Labour not pushing this BritCard instead as just an advanced version of the national insurance number card? If I wanted to make sure that every single person in the UK had this digital card, wouldn't the most effective way of doing this be, we're updating the national insurance number card. We're going to make sure that it's online, so you can access it online. You don't have to carry a card with you.
Okay, so I listened to the Keir Starmer speech about digital ID and I am totally confused, completely confused, don't get it, don't understand it, haven't got a clue what he's talking about. It seems to be that their premise for bringing it in is that it will help them control illegal immigration, right? How? What he's saying is that it will mean that nobody can register for work, nobody can sign up for a job, nobody can get a job unless they have this digital ID, and they won't give digital ID to anybody that is illegal in this country. How is that going to make any difference? How many actual employers, proper employers, are employing people who are illegal immigrants on the books, are giving them proper jobs and paying them proper wages and putting them through PAYE? How many of those illegal immigrants are paying tax? How many of those illegal people that shouldn't be here are rolling up to a proper employer and going, "Hi, my name is Mr. X. I've arrived on a boat from Afghanistan or in the back of a lorry from Vietnam. I don't have any papers, I haven't got a national insurance number, I haven't got any proper ID, give me a job." It's not a thing, it's not happening. He seems to be bringing in digital ID to try and beat a mythical problem. And it won't have any effect.
Why is this necessary? We already have national insurance numbers, so you can't really get a job and get paid in the absence of a national insurance number, so that's that taken care of. If I want to rent a room, my landlord is supposed to run like identity checks on me, so technically it shouldn't really be possible to rent a room if I were an illegal migrant. And asylum seekers, which is like the problem that they're really trying to solve here. They're trying to nip it in the bud, recapture the narrative around asylum seekers, refugees stopping the boats. These people can't work anyway. They're restricted, they're not allowed to work. This is the whole thing about them functioning as Deliveroo drivers and Uber Eats delivery guys, is they're doing that like off the books. So what's to stop them doing it? Like, it's the exact same process, but just sort of rebranded as an identity card.
And he says it's to cut back and to deal with illegal immigration, because then he'll know who's legal and who's not legal, who's allowed to work and who's not allowed to work. And the snake has finally taken his mask off, and we see what the real reason of this illegal immigration has been about all along. Tony Blair's brainchild, his little baby, for everyone to have a digital ID to push us to the 2030 Great Reset, where you have digital IDs, digital currency, and you will own nothing, and you will be happy, guys, because they will have everything they wanted to know about you in a single ID, and it's around the corner. He could deal with this issue. He could say every illegal migrant who comes into the UK has to wear a police collar on their ankle. We will know where you are at all times until your asylum is dealt with. But no, rather than deal with the 30 to 50,000 people he says are coming across, he wants to deal with the 30 million adults in the UK who are legal citizens of this country, have driver's licenses, have passports already. You can check out who we are if you want to, but no, we've all got to have a digital ID. Tony Blair must be sat in his little EU mansion having an absolute party tonight as Sir Keir Starmer once again separates himself from the British people. Guys, I cannot tell you how concerning this is right now.
Stop for a second. Here are 3 things you need to know about digital ID and why it's not convenience. Number 1, what started as temporary during lockdown became a blueprint. Vaccine passes and contact tracing prove the tech works. Now, they say it's for our benefit. Convenience is the sugar, control is the medicine. Number 2, once every part of your life needs a digital key, you lose choice. Travel, banking, work, protests, all routed through systems that can be switched off or limited. That's not hypothetical, it's policy by small steps. Number 3, this isn't a random idea. It's been pushed for years by powerful networks of institutions and career politicians who love centralised databases. That's where people like Keir Starmer come in, the front face while the architects do the wiring. If you care about free speech, free movement and the right to dissent, you need to see this for what it is, the gateway to mass monitoring. Don't fall for security and efficiency. Those words are weapons when the state and big tech gets the keys. We resist this together. Say no to digital ID, say yes to freedom.
Apparently, Keir Starmer has announced plans for a form of national ID to be introduced called the BritCard. Some people might remember that under Tony Blair's Labour government, there were similar plans for a national ID card. Of course, in the time since, such things have been updated for the digital age and those things that we rely on. But this is another, shall we say, highly unpopular thing from the Keir Starmer government. I mean, even the Reform faithful are being critical of these plans, and they want any measure, any way to demonise people. Ultimately, this is one of those rare things that does unify people. People have legitimate concerns about what effect this will have on privacy and concerns about what it'll mean for a state that keeps records of this sort on their population. Let's not forget, Keir Starmer and his government were talking about banning VPNs just a short while ago, which is comical as a concept, but also does show how out of touch with reality they are.
ID cards. Where's yours? Here we go again, guys. Starmer has announced today officially that every UK citizen will have an ID card. But they don't have to keep it on them, they can leave it at home. Which begs the question, why do they need an ID card if they don't have to have it on them all the time? But we know how this works. We know how it starts. It starts with just a little bit of salt. It's fine. You can have an ID card, but you don't have to take it with you. 6 months down the line, when you go into these places, you have to have an ID card. 7 months down the line, you have to have an ID card on you at all times. We know this is just another way of control. Now, there's two sides of this argument. One side is the argument where people say, well, if you've got nothing to hide, it doesn't matter, which is correct. But then there's the other side of the argument that says, what about my civil liberties? What about our rights as human beings not to be monitored, not to have people knowing where we are all the time, you know, having no freedom of going out and enjoying yourselves without somebody coming and asking for your ID, you know, and so forth, and the gates open for other things down the line.
Are you going to have a digital ID card, Starmer? What about your right hand that just stepped down for defrauding housing and not paying her taxes? What about many other people like Matt Hancock and Boris? And the list goes on of the MPs that have defrauded, corruption, deceived and lied. You say it's about the immigrants and the migrants and no one doesn't have ID and it's about utilising and making sure that we know who's who. Do we know you? When are we going to have that transparency and that able to be like, do you know what, guys, we're going to have this digital ID card and this is how it's going to be rolled out, and we're not going to go into your data, we're not going to have certain data just lingering for other people to collect your data, it will be on there for a certain amount of time. Does that mean now you're going to be reading into everything that I'm doing because you're already controlling most things anyway? When was the last time we used money? Don't worry, I'll wait. That was the biggest scam. Oyster cards was the biggest scam. Because we had tickets, you enforced us to have Oyster cards because you said it would be much more beneficial. Everybody was like, yeah, this is kind of convenient. So we jumped on it. Then you said, oh, don't worry, you don't want to go to the ticket office. You don't want to go to the ticket machine. Just use your phone or your bank card. Much more convenient. You don't have to do no more waiting. As long as you got money in your bank, you're good. But these was our digital footprints. This is what they were allowing and being able to monetize. Like the same thing on the algorithms on social media. The more and more you're doing something, the more and more that can actually predict and control what it is that you're actually doing.
I do not see this being spoken about enough. Vietnam closed another 86 million bank accounts a week after Thailand froze 3 million bank accounts. And you guys want to know the whole reason why they're doing this to people? It's because people aren't trying to comply with this whole digital ID thing. Basically, they're trying to digitize everything. They're trying to digitize your identity. They're trying to automate and digitize the jobs and the workforce. They're also trying to automate and digitize the financial industry. And it's happening in Thailand, bro. Like, this isn't just some Western concept. You often see people talk about, like, is the end times only happening in America? No, they do it in these other countries where media isn't that popular because they can get away with it much better. People will go along with it. It's easier for them to manipulate when all the eyes aren't on said topic.